Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. It's been a long time since we've done one of these, so I figured it'd be a fun idea to come back to it. In this video, I thought it'd be a really cool idea to build the Comet Observatory from Mario Galaxy as preparation for the Mario Galaxy movie. I think this is going to be a really fun build. As always, it'll be a time lapse, but I might do voiceover at some parts just to explain what I'm doing in case any of you want to build this for yourselves. Obviously, this is not a professional build, it's purely for fun, but I really hope you enjoy, and I'm going to do the best I can. So sit back, relax, and let's go. To start things off, I decided to go 20 blocks into the air just to give myself some room if I wanted to build downwards, and that way the Comet Observatory would look like it's floating like it normally does. You don't have to do this is just what I chose to do. You could even go higher if you want to, it's just a personal choice. In terms of the dimensions I used for everything, I don't want to get too much into detail just for the sake of simplicity and not having to talk over the whole video. But for the most part, I used 5 blocks wide for a lot of stuff, sometimes 7 blocks. But if you really want to look at the specifics of what dimensions I used for certain parts, you could slow down the video just to take a look at how many blocks wide or how many blocks long everything is. It's really up to you, I just don't want to bore you with going over every little detail. As many of you know, Mario Galaxy has a lot of areas where you obviously shoot off into a bunch of other galaxies, which is the main part of the game. This one in particular is called the Terrace. Now, for pretty much all of these, I just did a very quick 5x5 build with not much detail on the inside. And my reasoning for this is because the scaling on the inside of the buildings doesn't match the outside in Mario Galaxy. It doesn't really work. So I figured just so I'm not building big buildings in the middle of the Comet Observatory, I would just make them really small, so that way the scaling kind of works. It's a little hard to explain, but I'm hoping that kind of made sense. For the library, I played around with the scaling quite a bit, but I ended up with a 7x5 build for it. I wish it was a little bigger, but again, it is a bit of a challenge because of the way the scaling works in Mario Galaxy. But overall, it's alright. I just added a few pieces of carpet on the inside, a chair, and a fireplace. That's pretty much all I felt I needed to do, but if you want to make it bigger, by all means, go for it. For the kitchen, I made the platform it's built on top of 9x9 blocks, and the tower itself 5x5 blocks. I did this so that it wouldn't feel super cramped, and I could add a staircase as well. Now, the staircase isn't perfect, it's very far from what it looks like in the games, because in the game you're playing as Mario and you're expected to be able to jump up really high to reach each step. But in Minecraft, you can't really do that, so the staircase doesn't look exactly accurate, but for the most part, I think it's pretty good. For the roof, I guess you could call it, for the Comet Observatory, I built a 23 by 23 block square, and then I cut off the first 5 blocks of the corners to make it look a little bit circular. It's not perfect, but then again, circles never are perfect in Minecraft. I then went up and in 3 additional times to kind of make it cylindrical and so that it would funnel upwards, and then I started working on the engine room and the garden after that. It's kind of hard to explain the pattern I did as I was building it, but I'm hoping that's a good enough explanation so that you can get a feel for what I did. And there we go. That is the Comet Observatory built to the best of my ability in Minecraft. So I think it went pretty well overall. I think it bears a pretty good resemblance to the Comet Observatory, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's very nice. So let me give you a quick tour. Right here is where you would load into the game. Then you'd walk up here. Rosalina would be here as well, who I've changed my skin to be. Just figured it was pretty fitting that I play as Rosalina while building this. Then down here you have the grassy area, and then you have the terrace in here. Now you'll notice for areas like the terrace, kind of the areas where you would normally fly off to the galaxies in the game, I didn't put a ton of detail into the inside. And that's mostly because it's a little hard to do that since the scaling in the game, Mario games do this a lot where the scaling inside certain areas doesn't match the scaling on the outside. The biggest example would be Peach's Castle in Mario 64. Basically, the inside is a lot bigger than how it appears on the outside, so it was a little tricky to do that, so I figured the best idea was just kind of keep it simple, not worry about it too much. Over here, we have the garage where the Toad Brigade would normally hang out, as well as Luigi, excuse me. And we have the fountain over here. It's pretty happy with how this looked. You have the water flowing off the sides. I dug a little hole there, obviously, as you can see, so that way the water doesn't just flow everywhere. Yeah, and then I just put a little bit of water on the inside. Over here, we have another one of these glass circular things. These things are normally where the game would let you zoom out to get a bigger view of the Comet Observatory, which can be useful for a lot of players. Down here, these things, I'll throw up an image on screen now of what this is supposed to be. I don't really know how to explain what this is. But those of you who have played Mario Galaxy and are familiar with Comet Observatory kind of know roughly what this is supposed to be. It's not a very good replica of it, but I figured I would at least try to put it there. I really don't know what you would call it. They're just these spinning platforms that go around the Comet Observatory. But anyway, like I said, I'll have an image on screen so you know what I'm talking about. And here we have the bedroom. This area definitely feels the most bare because the bedroom was one of the interior areas that had the most detail. But hey, I still put the bed here. It kind of looks like it would be Wario's bed, but that's okay because the Mario texture pack doesn't have just a straight purple bed. So yeah, we're just gonna have to go with that. Unfortunately, that is the case for a lot of things where the texture pack kind of almost in a way ruins part of it. I'm just gonna change it. Sorry, everyone. I just wanted to change it back to night, just while I'm exploring. Just fits more with the outer space vibe. So yeah. Anyway, sorry for that little cut there. Then we have the kitchen over here. We just walk up these stairs. Now, obviously, these aren't they're more like platforms in the game, but we can't jump as high as Mario. Mario could definitely jump higher than one block, but in Minecraft, that's as far as you can jump, so I just made it stairs, and we have the kitchen in here. The furnace, unfortunately, is Bowser branded, but we can't really do much about that. Right, that reminds me, I was talking about the texture pack. Yeah, the texture pack can help in a lot of ways. It can also hurt the build in a lot of ways, but I think I might as well use it since we're building a lot of Mario-themed things here, so I think it makes sense to use. And here we have the library, which again, it's not done justice because of the way the scaling works in Mario Galaxy, but you get the idea here. And then you come around here, you're back where you started. Up here, I tried to make this a little bit cylindrical. It's not a perfect cylinder in the game. It kind of, the roof, or whatever you want to call it, for the Comet Observatory, it kind of goes in a weird shape. And for the color palette, it was a little challenging too, because, it changes patterns. Yeah, it changes patterns as it goes up the thing. I just kept it simple. I just went with like a pinkish, magenta base and a white top, which is pretty close to how it looks in the game and all that, so I went with that. And here, I put the engine room, which actually I'm just remembering I didn't put any lights in here, so if you're building this yourself, remember to do that. I forgot to do that. And then up here, this part looks kind of bad, but it's also kind of a tough one to do. This is meant to be the garden, but it's a little weird because it's almost like a portal in the game, because this is meant to be an outdoor area, and the only way you can do a portal in Minecraft without modding it is to send you right to the nether, so I didn't really feel like doing that, even though I guess I could have, but still I didn't end up doing that. So yeah, that's the actual observatory itself. Over here we have the gate, which would normally take you to Gateway Galaxy, but once again, portals don't work, and besides, Gateway Galaxy is an entirely different area than the Comet Observatory, so that wouldn't work for this build. And then lastly, we have, I forget what this area is actually called in the games, the Trial Galaxy, the Galaxies, I think it's called. You have the 3 different harder missions to complete here. This was probably the most awkward thing to build, or the most awkward looking of everything, because it's the only actual planet in the Comet Observatory. When you really think about Mario Galaxy, all the crazy gravity comes to mind, but the Comet Observatory, for the most part, is just plain flat, normal gravity. There's nothing really that crazy going on for the most part. The only actual planet thing would be this thing from Mario Galaxy, so it's hard to make this into like a more circular thing, as it normally is in the games, or the game. It's not in the second game. But yeah, that's the Comet Observatory, and the sun is coming up again. Just give me 1 second. Aside from, I'd maybe add a few more lights, which I might do that just on my own off camera. But yeah, overall, compared to my other builds, I think this one's very nice. I think it's very faithful, and overall, I'm very happy with it. So thank you all so much for watching. If you decide to build this for yourself, I really hope you enjoy it. And I hope that this guide, well, not really a guide necessarily, but this video is either helpful or interesting to you in any way, whether you want to build it or not, or you just enjoy the time lapse. Whatever, I hope you enjoyed it, and I really appreciate you watching till the very end, so thank you for that. And yeah, that's everything. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Okay, goodbye.